Hi there, my name is Polina, and I will try to guide you through this Scrum for Teams template. So, first of all, you need this template only if you have multiple teams, and every of those teams have their own set of sprints. So, Team A is running in their sprint, Team B is running in their sprint, and there can be as many teams as you want to. I definitely recommend later connecting this template with the product management template because this template will contain on the level of bugs and stories, which are usually a part of something bigger, for example, of a feature or maybe an epic or something else. So this is the endpoint and the planning has to be on a high level. So you are welcome to create relations between bugs, stories, and features table, for example. Now let's, as always, start from the data structure. I click on the configure space button, and here I see 4 databases. So this is what our process consists of. We have multiple teams, cross-functional group of real humans who work together towards delivering some value together. We have a sprint. So sprint here is a timed box iteration. Right now, we suggest having 2-week sprint, but you can have shorter or longer ones. That's up to you. We also have bugs, unfortunately, because that's what we always have, and we have stories. So stories is like a very simple part of functionality to implement. So you can also rename it and you can call it, I don't know, you can call it issue or you can call it ticket or you can call it task. That's up to you. So story is just a generic name that we suggest to have. Let's go back and see what we have inside the template. So first of all, we have a README. I definitely recommend you checking it out because it will guide you step by step through the whole process. But we also are watching this video, so let's continue. First of all, we have teams table. So this just defines how many teams do you have and which Fiber users are part of those teams. So if you have 5 or 6 teams, you can just add them here to this table and assign which Fiber users are part of those teams. If you want to do something else or manage permissions based on the team, maybe please ping us here or we'll record a separate video later. But if you need it, just let us know here in the comments or ping us through the help and support button. So yeah, first of all, here you map all the teams. Then we go to the backlog. So if you connected this template to your feature or to your epic and you create the stories and bugs from the feature level, they will appear here automatically. Or you can add them here. So we will have, one more bug. And there we are. You can just update the backlog here. For now, there are no filters here applied. So in the future, I definitely recommend you adding here a filter to exclude the stories and bugs which are not done. So the done items were not shown here. For now, to avoid confusion, we didn't set up this filter, so you can add them here. You can also, by the way, apply the sorting based on some parameters, so maybe on the priority or on something else. You also have a view which is called work by team. So all the newly added items, for example, one more bug, will appear here under the no team category. And what you can do next, you can simply assign them to different teams. Again, here I also recommend you turn on the filter to avoid showing done items because within the time they will clutter this view. But again, to avoid confusion, we don't have it for now. Okay, you assigned which part of the stories are part of which kind of the team, and high-level planning is here done. Then we are going to work on a more granular level, defining how to proceed with those stories and bugs from team perspective. For that, we have Teams folder. It's smart folder, in fact. So I will show you why. So inside this smart folder, you see all the teams. If you want to see not all the teams, but only some of them, you can configure and apply filters defining which teams do you want to see here on the left. And let's put it to the bottom. Okay, near left to every team, there is such an arrow button. In Fiber UI, such an arrow shows that there is something inside hidden. So if you see the arrow, click on it. Okay, so every team, even newly created one, have inside predefined views: backlog, sprints, and sprint plan. So in the backlog, now you will see only stories and bugs assigned to this particular team. So if I go to the backlog of your team, you will see only first ever bug, because this is what we defined on this view. So for example, release all the things will go here, and load of forgotten thing will go to the new team. By the way, you see new team appeared here as well. Those views will reflect this as well. So we have less here, we have more here, and we have necessary things here. So the backlog will be updated automatically after the high level planning on the work of the team. Here you can also create new items. So if you decided that, okay, we're going to drop a new story to Team Alpha, of course, let's create here a new story. Like, we can skip that part with the global planning for sure as well. I mean, technically we can. Then we have a sprints table. So here in this sprint table, you will be able to see which sprints are planned for this particular team. So we have sprint 1, sprint 2, which ended up already. We see here the capacity, we see the dates, and we also see a couple of formulas. So when I open the sprint, inside this sprint, I see which stories and bugs are assigned to this sprint. So those stories, they have capacity, aka effort planned to every of those stories. So total effort is the total effort of the stories and bugs assigned to this particular sprint. Thus, we have capacity 100 hours, total effort, which is planned already based on the assigned sprints and bugs, is 28 hours. Capacity left here is like capacity minus total effort, and completed effort changes when we move our stories to the done state. So then completed effort becomes 12 hours. And those formulas, they are added here, so you can also edit them and see the syntax. If you want to change this formula, you can become more familiar with Fiber syntax on your own, or you can add a description. So I want of stories and box effort. So you formulate it just as a text, then you generate using AI. And AI, based on the prompt, will change the formula syntax. It's much more handy. Of course, maybe it will not help with the super mega complicated use cases, but at least it gives you nice direction to move through. Okay, and the last but not least, here is a sprint plan. So sprint plan gives you ability to plan your backlog, in fact. So here as columns we have sprints, and here as cards we have stories, but we can also add bugs as well. Let's maybe change it back like this, because we can also plan bugs for our sprint. What do we want to see on the sprint level? We want to see the capacity left, and the dates, maybe the status, by the way, as well. And you can like reorder, it's up to you, but I think that this is okay. So we have a new story. I said that it is like 32 hours. It's probably quite a lot. Maybe it will be better to decompose them into 2 separate ones, but this is it. So I drag and drop it here, assign it to the sprint 1, and as you see, this formula capacity left recalculated. So here, no sprint column is populated based on the backlog. So once you add something here, like we did, it will appear in the sprint plan automatically, and you can like assign. I also suggest you to add a filter to the sprint level and to avoid seeing the sprints where the status contains past, like, because we don't need past sprints here, but again, it was done to, sorry, it does not contain past, to avoid the initial confusion. That's for you for the future. And as you see, every view here on the left has such wonderful like icons. So what does it mean? Those icons indicate that those views are mirrored across all the teams. What do I mean? Let me create an example. I will create a new, maybe, I don't know, a table, which will be a backlog. So let's even call it in the beginning backlog. And what I want to see here, I want to see here bugs, and I want here we have the same data like we do here. So the difference between those two views is that I created such a table and it didn't appear for other teams as well. So if I want this view be unique, not only for Team Alpha, but for all the teams, in this case, I can click this icon, and now every team in the left menu has such a duplicated table. So it just saves you time. Instead of like clicking manually and creating a table for every of the team, that becomes a nightmare if you have, for example, 20 teams. You just clicked one time and they were duplicated through the hierarchy. So this is what we mean under smart folders and mirrored views. So this is a quick overview of what do we have here and how can you use the template. So let's repeat. You set up the teams, maybe once, maybe you can change them across the time if something happens. Maybe you have new teammates and new teams. You define the backlog based on the product management or maybe directly. Then you define which part of the backlog goes to each of the team. And then for every team, you plan their own sprints, you plan their own backlog, and you assign what has to be done within which sprint. So what else do we have here? We only have here reports. It doesn't make sense like, yes, so here you probably will see an arrow. That's okay, because especially in the beginning, like historical reports require historical data. So it means that charts have to be like go through one state to another. You have to update manually their effort every day or like in 3 days, etc. So the reports could show you the correct data. So if you want, you can also create CFD reports, burn down, burn up. You can create velocity. That's up to you. So here inside the README document, we shared the link to how to create those charts. What else do we have? Let's go back to the configuration of the space, because inside we also have some automations. On the sprint level, we have a rule which is called create sprint with 2 weeks duration. Of course, not everyone wants to create sprints manually, so there is an automation which will create a sprint every 2 weeks once we have the one which is passed, and it will be called new sprint, so you could rename it later. And it also has a formula which defines the 14 days cadence. So if you want to change from 14 to another cadence, you can like change it here in the formula. Sorry, we have a guest. No, I don't have a guest anymore. So you can just turn on this wonderful rule. And if you face like if you want to adapt it, you can just ping us and it will help you with that. There is also a button which is called move to the next sprint. So when the sprint is finished, there can be like some stories or some bugs left, and then there are 2 ways. The first one is that you want to re-evaluate, like maybe we don't want to work on the story anymore, maybe bug appeared to be not that important, or maybe it is much more complicated than we thought in the beginning. So you can re-evaluate them manually, or you can click the button and move all the stories and bugs to the next sprint. So just enable the button and check it out. And inside the bug, there is also a rule which is called generate default description. So each time you have a new bug, it will have like some preset up default template inside, like please fill in steps to reproduce, current result, situation, expected result. So you can change this description or you can use it and just enable it. And inside of story, I think we have like nothing specific. This is probably it. If you have any questions, please, you're very welcome to ping us. And yep, any suggestions, very welcome. Hope to see you again soon. Bye.